Welcome back, guys. It has been quite a long period of time. We've been crazy busy trying to get these cars ready. I'm sure you guys noticed we were not at NCM, so we're trying to make sure we're ready for Gingerman. Here is the complete engine, minus the header, but it's going in today, finally. Shout out to Sean at P2R. He handled a lot of the pieces on this engine. Brent from PFI Speed is going to be helping with the tuning. He's been helping us with some cam and crank trigger setups. Hasport hooked us up with the mounts, and then of course SuperTech, who's been along for the last couple seasons handling all the valve train. So this is a J35A4 bottom end with J32A2 heads, fully ported. And this is Sean at P2R. This is a custom intake manifold that he makes. I'm not sure if he has it available to the public yet. We're going to be testing it. We're running a J37 throttle body, drive-by-wire. This is how we're going to control our horsepower to be legal for the class. Dean the Legend fabricated the oil pan. This has trap doors in it, and just the sump alone holds just over 6 quarts. This pan was probably one of the biggest things that we had to come up with to fit this in the FRS. With the cross member sitting back here, there was really no other way around it. So this was a good solution, and I don't see us having any problems with this at all. A few other things that have been going on. Dean got I know we talked about the rear sway bar stuff. Dean got the rear sway bar setup all done. He added this bar in here to mount the spline bar to. We modified a couple dirt track end links to get them put in here. And so we have 5 of these in all different thicknesses that we'll be able to use for rain and different conditions. Last year it was like we had a few options as far as like unhooking the bar or changing some settings, but this will give us a much wider variety of settings. Then these are our 3 front bars, and we're going to do the same thing in the front. We had some bushings made that slide over the bar, and same thing. These are going to be welded to the chassis. We're going to have a spline bar in the front. We'll be able to run a couple different thickness bars to really dial in the front suspension. Also, one of the problems we had last year, which is a notorious FRS problem, is the factory sway bar bolts to the coilover. So obviously the coilover turns, and it just creates a bunch of bind issues, and the front sway bar actually changes. It doesn't have a very linear rate, so we're going to be running the bar off of the lower control arm. Dean beefed up the lower control arm to take the extra load, and this is going to give us a much more consistent and linear rate on the bar. So other than that, we are going to get the engine actually put on a scale. We've kind of been wondering since the beginning what this total package is going to weigh. So we're going to set this on the scale with the alternator. So basically it'll be everything minus the header, because every setup pretty much has a different header, and see what it weighs. And that'll kind of give us an idea of where we are compared to going to like a K-swap or even the F-Series that we ran last year. And then we'll fill you guys in on what it weighs, and then we're going to get it put in today, pretty much on the home stretch. So hopefully it's all downhill from here. All right, so one thing we forgot to mention, this is a really big problem on the J. I know a lot of people struggle with coming up with a solution for the water pipes. So Dean and I fabbed up these pipes. So this is using P2R's 2 brackets that they sell, and then we just welded aluminum tubing to it to handle the 2 out ports on the heads. And then we run a water pressure and a water temp sensor. So this was a good, easy place to put them. And then this is actually a factory Honda water pump tube that we just cut and basically fabricated the rest of it. Both of these, we're going to run AN-16 AN lines to the radiator. And this clears our header and the rest of the chassis. In the FRS, we have this thing literally as close to the firewall as humanly possible. So all of this was like super tight. It does not really get any tighter than what ours is. So we'll show you, we have a different solution for the S2000 because there's so much more room. So, but this is how we handled it. I don't see us having any issues with it. So I'm excited we finally got that done. That was an awful, awful time welding that. So we got this sitting on the scale, and Dean guessed Dean guessed right around 300 with the alternator, and we are 302, and that is, I mean, that's fully dressed, basically every single piece on it, like I said, other than the header. So I think a fully dressed K series is right around the same weight, and this absolutely makes more power and more torque. So, and it looks way cooler than a K series. So we're gonna get the transmission put on and get it put in, and we'll update you guys here in a little bit. Well, end of the day, it is late. We put in another too many hours, but engine is in, and hopefully, from what we can tell, it's in for good. So she went in fairly smooth, only a few little hiccups, but Dean's oil pan fit, I mean, could not fit any better. Clearances are perfect. Our radiator duct and throttle body is not perfect, so we'll probably run with no radiator duct for the first event. We'll have to see how the header fits and kind of where we have room to, this throttle body really takes up a lot of room. But other than that, everything else is pretty much, our vent hoses and fuel lines are done. Water lines I'm gonna get crimped this week, those will be finished. And then we gotta run oil lines once we get the header put on. But other than that, it'll pretty much be done besides the wiring harness, which we'll be working on this week. So let's keep plugging away, and hopefully another week or so, we'll be ready to fire these things up for the first time and get prepped for when Brent comes out. So
that'll be fun.
What are your thoughts overall? I mean, it seemed like it went.
It took a little bit to fab it all up, but man, it fits nice.
Yeah, it was worth the extra effort. I mean, we took the extra time to get the engine slid back to the absolute maximum. You can see just how close our water tubes are. I mean, there's not a lot of clearance, but they fit. So, give you guys another update when we're ready to do first startup on these and Tiffany's, and hopefully be testing these things the next couple weeks before Gingerman. So thanks for tuning in. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and have a great week.